We're going to use the name box to create defined names, and by we I mean you, me, and my wife Ellie, who is operating the keyboard. So I'll be telling her what to do. The name box is a quick way to create a defined name for a selected cell or range. Your supervisor wants you to create defined names for cells and ranges in the receipt worksheet, which is where we are now in the Winter Activities Workbook. You'll start by using the name box to define some of these names. Select cell E11 and then click the name box. To the left of the formula bar, the cell reference for the active cell E11 is selected in the name box. Type activity fee, no spaces, and press the Enter key. Cell E11 remains active and activity fee appears in the name box instead of the cell reference. Now, if activity fee appears in cell E11, not the name box, you did not click the name box before typing the name, so you're going to have to undo on the quick access toolbar. Click the undo button or keyboard shortcut Control Z and then back the video up and try it again. Next, select cell E12, click the name box to select the cell reference, and type Rockport Disk, and press the Enter key. Cell E12 remains active and Rockport Disk appears in the name box instead of the cell reference. Now we'll try a range. Select the range D2 to F8. Notice that the cell you clicked first is the active cell that appears right now in the name box. Click the name box, type Youth Info, and press the Enter key. The name Youth Info is assigned to the range D2 to F8. Select the range A40, so you have to go down for that one, A40 to F40. There you go. Click the name box, type Transfer Area, and then press the Enter key. The name Transfer Area is assigned to the range A40 to F40. Let's go to E33. E33. Click the name box to select that cell reference. Type Rec Activity Fee. And then press the Enter key. Cell E33 remains active and Rec Activity Fee now appears in the name box instead of the cell reference. Finally, select cell E34. Click the name box and select that cell reference. Type Rec Rockport Disk and press the Enter key. Cell E34 remains active and Rec Rockport Disk is now in the name box instead of the cell reference. The name box displays all of the defined names in a workbook. You can click a name in that name box list to quickly select the cell or range referenced by that name. Let's verify that defined names are associated with the correct cell or range. We'll look at the defined names you added and then use them to select cells and ranges. Here we go. Click the name box arrow to open a list of the defined names in the workbook. There are 6 names there, right? Yep, okay. Side note, if the names are longer than the name box, you can make the name box wider so that the full names are visible by dragging that little 3-dot thing, it's called the sizing handle, to the right until you can see the full names. Okay, click the name box arrow to display the list of defined names. Click Activity Fee, and there you go. Cell E11 becomes the active cell. Click the name box arrow and click Youth Info. The range D2 to F8 is selected in the worksheet. Now, you can quickly define names without typing them if the data is organized as a structured range of data with labels in either the first or last column or the top or bottom row. The defined names are based on the row or column labels. For example, the registration data, right there, A2, contains labels in column A that can be used to make defined names for the corresponding cells in column B. So any blank space or parentheses in a label is changed to an underscore in the defined name. Your supervisor wants you to create names for each cell in the registration data area using the labels in the range A3 to A12 to name the cells in the range B3 to B12. So let's do that. Select the range A3 to B12. Column A contains the labels you want to use as the defined names, and column B contains the cells that you want to name. Warning: select only the range A3 to B12. Otherwise, the formulas you create later in this module will not work. On the ribbon, go up to the Formulas tab. In the Define Names group, right there in the middle, click the Create from Selection button. The Create Names from Selection dialog box opens. Make sure only the left column checkbox contains a check mark. The labels in the left column, column A, will be used to create the defined names, column B. Click OK. Each cell in the range B3 to B12 is named based on its corresponding label in column A. For example, cell B3 is named registration underscore date based on the registration date label in cell A3. Click the name box arrow and you can see all 16 defined names in that list. Notice that underscores have replaced spaces in the names. Press the Escape key to close the disk of defined names. And that's our lesson on the name box.